we are back with episode 13 of the Reformed Film Lad podcast, and we are on a hot streak with our guests because today we have Hilary Freed from ILFORD.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hilary, how far did you travel to get to us today?
Quite a ways. I came from Seattle.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wow. And it was snowing when I left, so I'm perfectly happy to be in sunny, warm Florida right now.
Yeah, we actually had a cold snap a couple weeks ago where it snowed in Florida.
Yeah.
And I guess it hasn't happened in like 30 or 40 years.
Ooh, wow.
It wasn't us, but up in the Panhandle, I think, where your sister lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 6 inches of snow, which was crazy.
Yeah. In Jacksonville, too.
Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville's only about an hour north, but it's very rare for Florida to get snow.
Yeah.
But now, we only have like 2 weeks of winter, then it warms back up.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to be here for summer.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. So
Thank you.
we get to interview Hilary today, talk all things ILFORD, film, and future projects maybe. We're going to pick her brain on that. I don't know if she'll tell us anything, but we're going to ask her anyways. But first, we'll get into what's on the table. And Hilary, you're our guest. So what did you bring to the show today?
Well, I brought my little Ricoh GR1s here. This is my handy travel camera. So I use it a lot for backpacking because it's ridiculously lightweight and it takes beautiful images. I sometimes can't tell the difference between the stuff I shoot with this and my F100. So that's So I love this little thing. I actually thought I ruined it on a very wet day in New York recently, and it just dried out and started working again, which I was very happy about. So, and then I also brought a roll of SFX, which has been one of my favorite films to shoot with recently. Once I finally got myself an infrared filter, I was blown away with the results. It's a lot of fun to play with. And
all right, you guys are shaking your heads. Have you been talking about this?
I just love the SFX. It's one of my favorite films to shoot.
Yeah,
I love it a lot. It's great.
It's really cool. And I brought some with me because you guys still have leaves on your trees.
We do.
Right, which we don't in Washington.
We don't get that seasonality going on.
So I was like, I can shoot some SFX in Florida. So I brought it with me.
Okay.
And,
do you have an infrared filter for that?
I just hold it in front of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And then sometimes I do a little, I'll do one without and one with, because I always like to see the difference too.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Bree, I think, and John and I were just talking about trying to do a video with the filters, with the black and white, because we had seen stuff about it and we've never done that before.
Yeah, I know you have. We've shot FSX before, but not using the filter, which I think it probably is the deal breaker.
It is the deal breaker.
Okay.
Yep. It makes a big difference. And
really, I need to try it then, because I haven't tried it. I like it just shooting normal.
He just likes it normal. Yeah.
I like the look of it normal.
Even a red filter will help give you kind of a boost. But the infrared filter is like otherworldly. It's very cool.
What specifically is it boosting then with the filter?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not sure I know how to really answer that. It has to do with the fact that it's reading sort of on the it's not a true infrared film or SFX. But it's kind of more on that spectrum.
Okay.
And so it's just helping you read that light. I don't know. I can't explain it scientifically, so I don't want to sound like a idiot, but
yeah, because I know we had a customer recently send either it was FSX or maybe one of the other infrared films in. He said he used the filter. So when we developed it, it looked, almost otherworldly.
Yeah.
I think is kind of the way to describe it.
Yeah.
Just kind of makes it, it's definitely unique.
Yeah.
So,
well, and one of the cool things about, true infrared film, you have to load in the dark. It's really sensitive, but SFX, you don't need to do that. You can treat it like a regular film, like a regular black and white film. You can load it in your camera in daylight, and so it's just a lot more easy to deal with.
okay.
So,
and you just have a little handheld filter that you hold up.
Yeah, it's the one I use on my Mamiya 6 because I do like to shoot it on that a lot better, but it's fun to just have it and play with. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lightweight travel camera. All the cameras we have are huge, so maybe we need to get one for the lab.
How much do those usually go for?
Oof.
Wait, how much did they go for 5 years ago versus today? That's probably the real question.
It's funny. I think when I bought it, I paid $550. It's a lot for a little point and shoot, isn't it? But one of the things that's really unique is that my screen on top isn't broken. Apparently, like most people that have these cameras, the screen on top is broken.
They go bad or something.
So this is like, so I have a special
nice
non-broken GR1s.
So it has higher value because of that, probably. Yeah.
It has great value to me because I use it a lot.
Yeah. How long have you had it, you said?
I've had it probably only about 2 years now.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
All
right. So, John, what'd you bring today on the table?
What did I bring?
You don't remember? You were filming it last night.
Oh, ECN2. This is a new film. They shot that. The girls did a little competition for the to see who shot it better.
What?
Well, I don't know. You guys are like hyping it up, but they shot those for a video, and we're gonna start developing it soon.
That's the plan. So we do C41, we do black and white and slide film. And on one of the podcasts, we talked about how we don't like ECN2 film.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
Well, and the reason is
There's a reason.
He's listening. So yeah, one of our podcasts we talked about we don't like ECN2 film because if it gets into the color film processor, that rimjet layer comes off and it creates a mess.
Yeah.
And I think it was our fourth podcast. I was like, I despise ECN2 film. So Dave, the president of Flick Film, emailed me. He's like, hey man, I listened to your podcast. Why are you hating on ECN2 film? I'm going to send you some ECN2 film and ECN2 developing kit, and you develop it, and then you'll change your mind. So it's been a while, but we had the kit and we went and shot the daylight films and the tungsten films.
Yep.
And had a competition. So that was filmed just last night. It's probably out. I'm not sure when it's coming out on YouTube. But if we develop it successfully, we'll probably add it to our development services.
Have you seen those pens that somebody's making?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think it's Coastal Film Lab.
I was gonna say I thought it was somebody in Florida.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Yeah, Coastal Film Lab, because there's a couple support groups on Facebook for like the film processors and scanners that I'm a part of as a lab owner, and a lot of lab owners, we talk to each other.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was Steven from Coastal, he made an announcement. He's like, hey, I have these pens that will check if a film is ECN2.
Yeah, like checking $100 bill to see if it's real.
It's literally like exactly. So you mark it, and I think the rimjet layer comes off, and you see the purple base, kind of like how Cinestill has a purple base. So
That's nice.
we normally try to keep our eyes out for it, but there are times when it gets in, and then I am then cleaning the film processor for several hours, sometimes longer. There's been some days where it's been pretty bad, but so if that goes well, we're in the middle of kind of going through it. We're going to process it, but it's interesting because a lot more people are asking if we can develop ECN2 film. Mm-hmm. We get that.
So you would hand develop it?
It would be in our Jobo. Okay. Yeah. So like the Jobo processor, we develop the black and white and slide because those are different chemicals. But Flick Film, and there's other companies too that make them. They make little kits, and so I think it would be smaller volume. Like we don't develop slide film very often. Maybe
this week we've developed like
a bunch.
A bunch.
Like 20
what's
rolls.
a bunch for us?
It's like 20, 25 rolls probably. This
slide. Yeah.
I don't know. Even just today and yesterday was 2 large runs.
Yes, it's like 20. It's 5 each.
Yeah, slide is definitely very small,
but
we do it. We definitely do it weekly. So I think ECN2 will fit within that niche. Niche, right?
Niche.
Okay. So yeah, that may be coming. I'm excited because it'd be fun to have another film to offer the process.
Yeah, would we sell ECN2
I think
film?
so because we get the Flick films like the Aurora and they're black and white, so we would probably sell them too, and we'll make an announcement on it. But kind of just the idea that film photography continues to get popular. More people are branching out to more unique films, which segues me to our last item on the table, a unique film.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that one?
Harman Red?
Harman Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as many of you know, we came out with Phoenix. It's been just a little over a year since we launched Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix is about a year old.
I will tell you that we are continuing to work on the new iteration. So it turns out that it's quite hard to make color film. You know, we have a team of people that have been making black and white film for a long time, but the neat thing is that they're kind of learning to do it from scratch, I guess you could say.
Okay.
You know, so they're not being hindered by the way things have always been done, which I think actually is a good thing for advancement. But it's also a little slower. So We hope to have something, soon.
Soon. Well, when you emailed us and said you were coming down, I'm like, I'm going to ask her when the next Harman film is
I
coming
know,
out.
and I honestly don't have an answer. It's not that I know, and I'm keeping it a secret.
It's under wraps. No.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we thought it would be fun to sort of have some fun. So this is a red scale film. So as you know, Phoenix was our first color film. So this stuff is all new to us, but we just thought it would be neat to like play around a little bit. So red scale, it's really fun to shoot. I shot a roll myself when I was in Manchester just a week and a half ago and got some really cool results. I was honestly quite surprised. Like it's
I can say the same thing.
yeah.
When I got it in, because we've shot other red scales, like we were talking, Lomography has one, Kono
has one.
I think Kono one is just the Kodak Gold flipped.
I believe,
I don't think they're making a film. But we, in our review video, which is live on YouTube, my favorite photos, and we'll show you after the podcast today, were our portraits. We went out.
Really?
We actually went out and did portraits with it.
And
Those
you
were
liked
cool.
them.
I liked, I mean, they're red scale.
Yeah.
But literally,
Okay.
we just went over on the side of our building. The guy who owns the last building is a landscaper. So it looks really good over there because he advertises all his stuff. But yeah, we just went and took portraits of all the staff because we had like 10 images left we shot it on a Leica M6 with a Voigtlander 75 1.5. So
It's kind of hilarious to like shoot red scale film on it, like really nice.
They were also
nice
using
camera.
flash. See that flash?
Yeah.
that
Why
I was
not?
using?
Yeah.
Oh, and we did some indoor shots with a flash.
Oh, and how'd those work out?
Those were interesting.
Yeah.
And we did the color filter on them too, like
nice way to put
the.
it.
We had a Holga flash on the Leica. We had a
Yeah.
$10 flash, and it has color gels.
Oh gosh.
So we tried using different color gels to see what
would happen?
What would happen?
Yeah.
And we got some interesting effects. But the portraits themselves, it's red scale. But we scanned them, and I was like, I really like these. Like,
cool.
Yeah. it
Yes,
just
I
kinda-
haven't
came
seen
out
that
really
many
cool.
portraits on it, so I'm
well, we wanted to do
intrigued.
something unique because
Yeah.
we went out and just shot it generically. Got different shots of like the beach or kind of the
Yeah.
river
Yeah.
area here in town, and then we had like 10 shots left. I was like, let's just go shoot some portraits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when it first got into people's hands at Harman, it had snowed in the UK, like in Manchester area where our factory is. And so a lot of the images they have are like these snowy scenes, which look pretty cool. I mean, I personally am really impressed with it. And I think it's fun. Definitely everybody should get out and try a roll. Like just,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's good to kind of like play with photography too, Some people take it very, very seriously and that's great, but it's fun to play too.
Yeah.
It's so variable, which
Yeah.
is what makes it fun.
Yeah.
When you get a fun film to mess with, I feel like you're like more chill when you're shooting the film. Like, I'll mess around with different images where it's not like, I have a roll of Portrait 400. It needs every shot has to be perfect. Where it's like, I can have a
I
roll
paid
of
good money
red,
for that
like-
Portrait
Yeah,
400.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like I'll just mess around, like just take fun pictures. I don't have to be so hyper focused on what you're gonna get.
I know. I feel like I definitely did that. I was a little more like, I don't normally take pictures of just graffiti or something, but
Right.
it was like, I bet it'd look cool on this. And so I
Right.
was, I was taking images of stuff maybe I wouldn't normally shoot just to see what it looked like red scale.
Yeah, I think it brings that kind of that fun element back in because if you're just shooting, having to be mindful of what is this costing me.
Yeah.
But you're like, I know this film is going to have unique characteristics, and so you're probably going to get outside of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change your way of thinking a little bit. I mean, it's even just like when you shoot black and white versus color, you
yeah.
almost have to change your way of seeing things. Like there's a lot of times where I go to take an image and then I realize, oh wait, I've got color film in my camera. Like I don't think it'd look as cool in color.
Yeah.
So
Here's a question. Do you edit your film photos?
I mean, I obviously remove dust.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we know all about that.
Yes.
We edit so many black and white images for dust.
I don't do much more than just, adjusting contrast and maybe exposure and things like that, but not much.
Like in Scanner or like in Lightroom?
I scan at home almost exclusively, so then I do it all with, in Lightroom. So, because I shoot it, I have a negative supply set up and I shoot it with my digital camera. And
Okay. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
so,
Oh, okay.
So then I just,
That's a different setup, though.
Yeah.
You kind of have to edit.
It's different.
You can't really like you have to. We have like an ongoing debate of like should you edit your film photos after they've been scanned by like the pro scanners?
Yeah.
There's,
Like
a
after
big
people
debate. Me
get
and
them
Ava are
from
like
us.
no way, and then Michael and Bree are like, oh well, maybe you can edit a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're very much welcome onto our podcast because you edit your photos. We're not going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had to ask.
She had to ask. She has to like
Ongoing
survey our
debate.
guests to make sure. No. All right. So Hilary, what do you do for Ilford?
My official title is country manager for U.S. and Canada. So I'm the only employee in North America outside of the U.K. And I do a lot of random stuff.
Okay.
So I do account management. I deal with customer service complaints, which thankfully isn't that many. With ILFORD Photo, we make really high quality products. We have great quality control. And so the customer service issues are pretty minimal. So I'm able to just deal with those when they come up. And then I have somebody, someone in the UK office that is helping me with that stuff because she's a lot more technologically savvy than I am. And
Okay.
and then I travel, I do a few like events and trade show type things. I keep track of budgets. Boring stuff, spreadsheets, blah, blah.
And you're the only one over here on stateside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty fun. I mean, I started in photography in high school and was using ILFORD film and ILFORD paper in a dark room in high school. And it's pretty cool to kind of end up working for ILFORD.
So how did that come about? Was it from high school, love of photography, like going into the industry? Or
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it was a circuitous route, but after high school, I fell in love with it pretty instantly. I had a great photography teacher in high school that set me on a path, a passion.
Yeah.
The teacher makes or breaks it.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah, you've had some good teachers. We've talked
I've
about in
had some
previous
bad ones
podcasts.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's no.
It does. I agree. Yeah. Anyway, so I went off to like university and just couldn't find my place. And I remember I was talking to my parents one night and they were like, well, what do you really want to do? And I said photography. So I got out of the university and I went and did a photography program. And then right as I finished that program, I had one class on Photoshop. And because I learned it was all darkroom. Mm-hmm. And I had one class on Photoshop. And basically like the minute I graduated, it was like, film's no longer a thing. And so I just kind of got really confused for a while. And I worked in some labs and I worked in camera stores. And then I slowly just worked my way up in camera stores, like from salesperson. And I was a buyer at 2 camera stores. I worked on the other side of things. I worked for Lens Baby. Have any of you guys heard of Lens Baby?
Mm-mm.
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, we made like creative lenses that sort of bent.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, like have tilt and shift from like a 4x5 camera.
Yep, but it was like it was on a ball socket, so it was
weird.
It was fun.
I do remember that.
They were.
When was that?
Oh, they still are around.
They're still around. Okay, yeah. Because the name definitely rings a bell. I feel like I've seen their products online.
Yep. And then I moved overseas for a while and worked for some photographic companies and then I just, the guy that was doing this job before me was set to retire and reached out and just said like, do you think you'd have any interest in this? Like, I think you might be a good candidate. And it was like, oh, okay, maybe. And here I am.
Okay.
So
awesome. And how long have you been in the position that you're in?
Actually 3 years as of this month.
This month. Okay. Congrats.
Yeah. It's fun. I love it. I mean, it's like you get to work, in a field you're passionate about. And
yeah. And you said when you came in today, you're in Florida kind of visiting different labs, kind of just visiting with the community.
Yeah. It's always nice to get in touch with local businesses and see what's going on. And there's lots of little labs popping up all over the country and little camera shops. And we want to support it all because it's exciting. It's an exciting time in film. I'm happy to see it resurging and
yeah, it's definitely coming back.
among the young people.
It's been back. But
It's been back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been back. Yeah. Yeah, because we started in 2020, small, lab just for something fun to do was more my idea. And that quickly just grew into where we are today. But I think just the demand for labs, film, et cetera, has definitely grown. Is that something Ilford has seen over the past, 5-10 years?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even just in the last few years, just like I said, just so many little places popping up. I still run into people, especially older generation, that see me with a film camera, and they're like, "Where can you get that developed?" It's like they think of all those places having dried up, and many of them did, but they're coming back, and there's a lot of places that were just kept doing it, and so yeah, like the CVS's, the Walgreens. There was always a place you could develop your film back in the 90s, early 2000s. No matter where you lived, right? There was somewhere in your local town, but and now it's places like you guys that people will ship to from all over the country,
all over,
probably all over the world, maybe.
I know some labs probably do accept worldwide. Okay. We just operate within the States as far as our online site. So, we'll get stuff from Hawaii sometimes, which is really wild to me because it's got to come really far. And then some, we get some military personnel who have APO. So they're stationed around the world, but because they have that U.S. address, that base, we develop for them. I know we had one customer, he lived here in the States, and then he went to Germany for a while, and he would send us his film from Germany, and now he's back in the States. And
believe that,
he's just kind of been a long-standing customer.
Awesome. Exactly.
Yeah.
You, especially when they know they can trust you guys, and
Yeah, that's what been our goal, is just try to be consistent, reputable through the years. I think that's a big reason for our growth that we've had.
Yeah. Cool. I think our YouTube channel too. We started that, which was fun.
That's been a fun thing, yeah. And we were saying we did start the YouTube channel because of the Phoenix film that came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was literally. I think it was you who emailed me about the Phoenix film.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you emailed me when it was coming out, maybe October, November.
Yeah.
Before. And then I had a friend who has always encouraged us, you should make a YouTube channel because film photography would be a good reason to have it. And I emailed him. I was like, "Hey, I got this email from Ilford. They're coming out with this film, and will you come film a video for us?" And he did, and that basically started the journey.
That's very cool. Yeah, and it keeps you guys having some fun with it too, right?
Yeah, add some spice to the day.
Yeah.
We can go out and shoot a video and shoot film for a couple hours, so it's a nice little break in the day or in the week.
Well, they get paid to go shoot film,
Yeah.
make videos, so
that's planes, right?
It's a good job.
And get to try out new cameras and new film stocks.
I've really enjoyed that aspect of it, especially with this new series we're going to be doing. This guy's going to send us 2 of his cameras from his camera collection that we'll shoot, do a video and then send them back to him.
Okay.
And he has 70 cameras or something?
Yeah, one of our regular customers reached out. The episode is already on YouTube. It's called The Crazed Camera Collection. And he just emailed me. He's like, no joke, I have close to 100 working film cameras. Yeah. Would you be interested if I just randomly sent you 2 at a time that you go out and shoot and test? Because he felt like there's a lot of cameras that are on the market, maybe the Canon AE1 or Nikon F100 that are popular, they're well known. And he kind of wants to get these other cameras out known. And he's like, I'll send them to you. You just go shoot and test them and make a video. So
wow.
We have apparently lots of videos coming now.
Yeah.
But you guys, we shot, it was a Canon point and shoot.
Yeah, and then a
Minolta
CLE
or D rangefinder.
Rangefinder.
It's kind of
that
a mini
one was
Leica.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was smaller than the Leica.
Nice.
But it's still it's shot like a Leica.
Yeah, it was a rangefinder, lightweight, and
there are a lot of cool cameras.
Yeah, that you wouldn't even know,
I know
that are out there. So that's kind of the idea of the series. And
I was on a photo walk once, and this guy had I think it was a Minolta, but the camera actually talked to you. Have you heard of that?
I have one.
You do?
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's very interesting camera.
It was high tech. Need to turn the flash on and stuff.
Yeah, it's turn flash on or your exposure's too low.
I thought it was the funniest thing. That's awesome.
It was like the early Siri telling you.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's like funny. AI.
Yeah, early AI. Yeah. That was high tech back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
High tech. But yeah, that's the kind of the goal of the series. And so he sent me an email the other day. I think I don't know if I told you guys, he's already got the next 11 series matched out, and he's got funny names for them, like the Fuji, Fantastic Fuji Day or something like that. It kind of correlating the names of the cameras. So
That's cool.
that's on the horizon. But
yeah.
just kind of shooting, like you said, different cameras is kind of a big part of it. And
So when you do this, do you run the same film stock through these cameras so that you have like some kind of gauge, or do you just play with whatever film?
I mean, he sent us XP2 and Ultramax for both cameras, and we shot in both cameras, both rolls.
yes. Yeah. One
So-
color, one black and
That's a
white
nice
is the
idea.
idea.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
And he supplied the film, and I told him, please don't do that. Like you're sending us cameras, we will pay for the film.
Yeah.
And the benefit he said he gets of it is like he gets to kind of see these cameras high res scans, so he does get a benefit from it.
Yeah, we sent
But
him
we
all
probably
the scans.
we probably need to think through continuity, like what's going to be consistent. But since he included the film for the first one, that's what we shot.
Okay.
And that one's out on YouTube as when this podcast goes live, but it's in editing as
Okay.
far as us talking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so back to the Phoenix film. What was the idea between, for Harman making that? How did that come about? Because I feel like that kind of shocked the world when it did come out. There was a new player in the game making color film, because
Yeah.
right now it's only really Kodak, I think.
Right. And I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons we felt like we needed to do it. I mean, there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of people that can make film in the world anymore. I know there's some more attempts at it, but we have the facility to do it. We were always asked, like, why don't you make color film? Why don't you make color film? And it was always just kind of like, well, it's hard, and it's not, it's like, it's
not
like
something you
we
just do.
flip a switch and
Yeah.
like, oh, this machine has a color switch. Like, why didn't we try that? So, but it was, finally someone at the company said, like, I think it kind of started with the big shortage of Kodak that really started us thinking,
Like 2020, 21, somewhere
yeah,
in there.
21, 22.
Yeah.
There was,
Oh,
there
I
were the
remember
big
that.
shortages.
Yeah.
And it just kind of made us all aware that, like, how much the film industry is reliant on sort of one company to make a color film.
Color film, yeah.
And we just thought, like, well, let's see if we can be the other company, so it's not going to be an overnight process. But hopefully we'll get there so that we're making really high quality color films before too long. But yeah, it was just sort of like, why don't we try to do this? We have the machinery, we have the knowledge, we have the people, we have, let's see what we can do. So, yeah.
How did you come to actually what the Phoenix film is and the look of it? Like, how did that come about? Just
Luck. That's what we got. I think it was, it was the first version. It was really experimental in that stage. So it was also just like what we were able to do with what we had. And it was amazing to see, I saw some of the very first versions they came out with. So between that and then what we came out with Phoenix, it was just vast improvement. And it was really cool to see that, they would come out with something and then they would go, oh, well, that's, way too green or whatever. And
Okay. So there were definitely some early iterations that were like, no.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
and there's certain things that we know that, one of the reasons we don't have a new version quite yet is because we want to make sure that it's like a noticeable improvement, so that when people buy a new version, they notice that it's a new version and not just like, oh, I guess in this image I can tell it's a little better.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that it's an improvement. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing. Like when we got the film in, like we did our test video on it, and then you guys later released the 120 version. And when we tested that, I kind of feel like there was an improvement there. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about that,
Yeah.
even from 35 to 120, that 7-month timeline difference. It really wasn't that long.
There were, I mean, that's the thing is kind of on the backside, there's all these little things going on. So there were little improvements just as we figured it out. So, but then also it just, I think Phoenix just looks nice in 120, you know, it like softened the edges and
I can see
all that stuff.
Yeah, we noticed that we like the look of the 120, I think, a little bit better than the 35 just because it looked so good.
And John specifically only shoots 120
I shoot
now,
a lot of 120.
so
He's a 120 snob. He doesn't touch 35.
I shoot a lot of 120 too, except in this thing, but
I have a couple of 35 point and shoots that I'll shoot every so often. But
like you're talking. Is it a Minolta? Was I right?
I think it is. I've only shot one roll through it, and it's sitting on a shelf somewhere, so I need to pull it back out and
you do.
shoot another roll through it.
Well, he recently got a Pentax 6.7, and that's
shooting that a lot.
I mean, that compared to something like that, that's a monster camera.
Beast. Yeah. So are you like working on building your?
My arms will be like, it's like I haven't gone out and shot it like a full day because I'm like nervous, like have it out and be like I have to carry this thing around for the entire day. So like trying to find a good time to go out and shoot it the whole day and see like what that's like. Yeah,
you have that Fujica 645,
That's
which is a
my
really
go-to.
compact 120.
Yeah.
So that's good for like travel shooting.
Yeah.
I shoot a Mamiya 6, which is my favorite camera, and it's everybody goes on about the Mamiya 7, but I love the 7. Yeah, the 6. I don't know if you know, it like kind of sandwiches down. It like folds. And so it makes it compact, and then it's a square format, which I've always really enjoyed. But it's my go-to. I just didn't bring it on this trip.
Yeah, well, traveling light is always good.
Yeah.
So for shooting black and white, you said you develop your own film?
Yeah.
Okay. What developer do you use? Do you have a favorite? Because Ilford has a lot of different developers.
I use DDX mostly.
Okay.
Sometimes I use Ilfosol 3, but DDX is kind of my go-to.
Yeah, we use Ilfosol 3 here at the lab.
Yeah. It's a little bit better priced, I guess I would say.
The Ilfosol 3?
Yeah. So, and I mean, sometimes I do the thing where like I stack up my film for a little while and then I develop a lot at once.
Okay.
So I have to try to make sure that I don't waste any chemistry, you know, so I try to use up a whole bottle or whatever, but
Yeah, we go through quite a bit on a daily basis.
Yeah, I
but
would
so
imagine.
the Ilfosol 3, we pretty much make a fresh batch daily and burn through it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what you use in the Jobo.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. For me, it was just before the lab opened, I was shooting black and white and developing it at home as well, and that's the one that I kind of stumbled upon that I liked. I tried a few others, but then it was just easy to make a fresh batch when I was ready.
Yeah.
Whether it was a small amount or a large, and then just kind of go forward from there. So when we opened, we just kind of kept that going.
Okay.
And it's versatile.
It is.
For us, there's so many different films, like on the dev chart, that have Ilfosol time. So it was like as we were growing and developing, you know, either ILFORD Films or Kodak or just random obscure brands, it's like, oh, there's a time for Ilfosol. So that worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Makes your job easier.
Yeah, because some days, I don't know, how many black and white rolls do we do a day? Some days.
It's a lot. I mean, just right there we have like 5, 10, 15, 20.
There's doubled 120s in there too.
Probably like 30 rolls
For today.
Okay.
in a day, sometimes more. But that's probably like 20 or 30 rolls a day, I would say, of black and white.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is a lot. Yeah.
Yep. And that's 5 days a week. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But when I'm not here, less gets done. But you know,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Bree and Ava do really good black and white. I make sure to leave a nice
Yeah, he
lot
does.
of, like last week I left to like probably like 30 or
30
40 rolls of
rolls
black and white
of
to be
black and
developed.
white.
I was just like, oh, I'm just going to be annoying and leave that for them to develop.
I'm not working tomorrow. The ladies can do it.
Well, Bree didn't even come in till like noon that day. So I had already finished loading most of it and already going
The
through
wizard.
it. So she had not much.
Yeah. Yeah, they bicker a lot. And
Yeah, we
yeah,
do.
it's fun though. It's fun. So what's it like being down in Florida right now for you?
One of the things I love about my job is seeing sort of the film community in all these places.
So you get to travel all over and visit labs, and you said you were in the UK last week. Or?
Yeah, and that's mostly to go into the head office and actually like have kind of face-to-face time with my colleagues. And
Okay. I was thinking, because you said earlier you work alone. Does it get lonely being stateside, no other staff?
No, I'm an introvert, so I'm
Okay.
I'm okay with.
I think all of us are
That's why we're
introverts,
here.
which is so you're in good company.
No, so I don't mind it. And
Okay.
if I do ever feel lonely, it's, I have like Robert's, my distributor.
Okay.
here.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that today.
Yeah, they're great human beings, and I know I can always like reach out to them, and they're always helping me with fix problems and
Okay.
so I never really have that problem. And then I get on the road a decent enough that I get to go in and meet new people and meet people that I've had, email interactions with and finally
Yeah,
get to see
we've
in
been
person.
emailing for a little bit now
Yeah.
with new stuff coming out, and
Yeah. So I don't know, that's really cool. But so Florida, I mean, honestly, it's really nice to be here. I don't know why I live in Washington. I mean, I do. It's like one of the most beautiful states in the country. No offense.
It is beautiful.
But-
Does it rain a lot there? Is that a
Yes, it
thing?
does,
Okay.
yes.
I remember
It rains a lot here
watching
in the
that
summer.
movie Sleepless in Seattle,
It's
and it was
real.
raining the entire movie,
I
basically.
mean, it's not that bad, but yeah, it's the gray that gets to me. Like,
Okay.
um,
Yeah, we don't have that here too much.
Yeah, it rains
Yeah.
like an hour in the afternoon, then it clears up and it's bright sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I love sun, so I always am like, why am I? But then that's why we have so much greenery. That's why we have a lot of ferns and moss and beautiful things that I love to photograph in the mountains.
So does the job require a lot of traveling for you as far as visiting labs or going to headquarters?
I would say a decent amount. I usually go to the UK maybe just once a year.
Okay.
And then I travel around once a month, maybe. It's not crazy. I think it's a pretty manageable amount.
Yeah, yeah.
I like being on the road, but I like being at home too. So it's just a nice balance. But yeah, Florida. This is my first time in Florida with this job, so it's neat to see. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of labs and shops that I'm discovering.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you got here today, we were talking how like even just in Orlando, which is kind of one of the more hub cities here in Florida, there's been like 2 new film labs that have popped up
Just in the last few months.
Last few months.
Yeah,
Aren't they right next to each other?
yeah.
Yeah.
Competition.
Competition, I guess. Yeah.
They have different vibes. So I mean, I can see that like certain people might go to one, and yeah.
Yeah.
Do they offer like the same thing though, or is one like is it slightly different? I don't know. Oh, we're gonna have to go and see.
Go and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one of our local customers come in and tell us about it. He went to, I don't know which one, it was one of their openings, and they had a tattoo artist giving out free tattoos for their opening. I guess you could pick certain designs.
Designs.
And I think they were film related.
I would hope
maybe
so.
a roll of
Probably,
film or like a camera.
Were people doing it?
He said there was a line for it.
That's wild.
I
That's
guess if you love
hilarious.
tattoos and someone's giving out free tattoos,
tattoos.
and
Right.
you love
You're like,
film.
I
They're
don't care
probably
what
like
it
that
is.
big.
I think they were small. Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe
you-
you can get like a little HP5 or something
Yeah,
on your
right.
arm or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Right.
Bree
I was like,
getting XP2
XP2. Yeah.
Is that
yeah,
that would be your choice?
Breeze.
Bree. She's one of
She
our other
lo-
lab
yeah.
techs. She loves that
Sorry.
film.
Yeah.
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 We it's on YouTube a few months ago. She rented a 400 millimeter f2.8 Canon lens, and this was an old model from like the 90s.
Yeah,
so
like
pure metal.
It weighed like 12 pounds.
Yeah.
So we just went outside and did staff portraits on XP2 with that lens.
Cool.
Yeah.
I bet they look nice.
Yeah, they came out cool because they have like that heavy compression that
Yeah.
those lenses have.
Yeah.
And then XP2 is just an all-around great film.
Yeah.
It is. It's an underappreciated film, I would
We
say.
talk
Yeah.
about that like just recently because
Yeah.
like we shot it, like it looks so good and just people don't shoot that much. And it's such a good film.
It's a really nice film.
Yeah, it's sharp, fine grain, and then the C41 processing makes it
know.
more affordable because we
Yep.
just develop it as color. You don't have to do any dusting. At least we don't because our scanners take out the dust on
That's right.
C41. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely an
XP2.
underrated one. Yeah. So what questions do you guys have for her?
I don't know. Why is everyone looking at me?
All-
I don't
all-
have any
all of our-
questions.
Well, we were talking about it before Chan's like, what do we need to know about Ilford?
What do we need to know about Ilford?
We've already asked her about the projects. She's not coming clean with any info.
I know. I'm trying to think of like something good.
It's coming, she said. They're working on it.
Give me like new black and white in the works or no? You guys have kind of like tapped out on that.
No. I wouldn't say that.
So there is.
I,
You can't confirm or
Can't
deny.
confirm or deny. I'm not saying we're tapped out.
right. Yeah.
What was the most recent black and white? Was it Ortho 80?
Ortho, yeah.
And
Well,
that's
I mean, we've had like Kent Mirror and 120, but really the most recent film stock was Ortho 80.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that old. Maybe
I think it was 2019.
2019.
Oh, so like 5.
Well, we're going on 6 years.
6
We're in
years
2025.
ago.
Oh, yeah, that does sound like a long time
We're
ago.
a
doesn't
quarter
it?
of the
That's
way
insane.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess one thing I can share with you is there, it's not a secret. There's a lot of information if you go online, but we've invested a lot of money in our facility. So we want to make sure, our factory has these machines that nobody's making anymore. So they're, old.
One of a kind.
Yeah, they really are.
Okay.
And there's no, you can't just call somebody up and order a part for it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
so one of the things we wanted to make sure we could do is make sure our equipment will stand the test of time. And so we are updating what we have, adding new machinery so that we can produce more film because, of course, with color, that could really increase our production. And so we need the ability to ramp up that much. So that's been a big thing for us started last year and into this year is all this investment in new machinery. So, and since I was just there, I actually got to go into the factory and see some of this stuff they're working on, which was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So when you say new machinery, is it literally like being built custom for you guys? Like we have it, we'll be able to maintain
Wow.
it,
Yeah.
not have to rely on old parts.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like one of my favorite things always to see is like, one of our machines still has those, what were those printers called that have the little like edges that you would peel off?
Oh.
The land cameras?
A line dot printer? Or,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it still uses that, like.
You remember that episode of The Office where Pete had one?
Oh yeah.
It's like, this is what
Yeah.
we're working with. No.
Yeah. That's kind of, because that's when they made this machinery and it's hard to upgrade that.
So they're still using
stuff.
that? Something
Yeah.
like that? That's
Yeah.
funny.
There's, there is some funny stuff like that you see, but so that's why we need to make sure that we can change with the times. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing because we've even talked about that as a staff. Our film processors that we use, they're not made anymore. And I was just showing you, we have like 5 film processors in our building, not because we need 5, but mainly for parts. Like if something happens, we can pull a working part off it. So we have to, even on a smaller scale from a lab, we have to be kind of conscious of that. Like we need to maintain that. I think there's one company that makes film processors, Colenta. And so that's always in the back of my mind of got to keep
at least they're there.
At least they're there. And I do know there's some labs stateside that use their I think Gelatin Labs has one up in New Jersey.
They're making both roller transport and dip and dunk
Oh, okay.
machines.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The dip and dunk.
And I've seen both in places around the U.S.
Yeah.
And Canada. So
Wow.
yeah, we're all happy that they're making.
Somebody's making,
Yes. Because and then now the issue is scanners too. It's like
That's true.
I assume you do you ever have issues with your scanners? And
I have one right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So our new Ritsu scanners,
The carriers will just be funky sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah, because those have wearable parts. I do think the one thing that's nice about the Niritsu brand and Niritsu scanners is that they were such a worldwide company,
Right.
that there are a lot of scanners and parts still available, and there are still techs that were techs for a while. So I have a few contacts that if we have something that needs replacement, we can send them parts and fix them.
Okay.
And we have backup scanners. About a year ago, I bought another scanner that we don't even use. It's way up there on the shelf, just up in storage.
Yeah.
Just if a scanner dies, we can just pull it off. So
I know.
that's like a $15,000 investment that we don't use, but just that we have here.
Yeah. And I think this is stuff that hopefully we'll see people advancing, just even like Pentax making a film camera last year.
Right,
And,
yeah.
and a couple other companies. I think that this resurgence has made people realize like, oh, this is still a marketable product. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good to hear about the machinery being upgraded because
It
I
is.
remember.
It's important. Yeah.
Do
Like-
you know the Polaroid, the Impossible project?
Yeah.
Because they had something similar where they had like, these are the only machines we have and we got to figure out how they work and maintain them. And
Yep.
they basically kind of saved the Polaroid film, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to grab my phone because
Okay.
I saw an Instagram reel of, I think it was Ilford UK, where they do like a lightning round of films and you have to say which one you want to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let me grab my
Should we
phone.
do it?
Yeah. I figured we could all do it, but I
Okay.
have the list there. I had seen they had posted on a reel or a story.
Yeah, they've
where
done it a few
They've done
times
it a
with
few
people,
times.
yeah.
Okay, so we will. You know what it is.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right, so we will list off the Ilford films. I wrote them down, so just make sure I
Okay.
didn't actually forget one.
Oh, wait, and are you going to ask me or all three of us?
We'll do all three.
Okay.
All right.
So what are we doing again?
It's like this film or this film. Like you have to choose.
You have to choose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then
Like it
you
keeps
go
going.
through all of them, and so you kind of identify your favorite film.
top
Okay,
film.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So should we start with Hilary?
Yeah.
All right. So I tried to jumble them up, so we'll
Okay.
see. All right, ready?
Yep.
Ortho Plus or FSX?
SFX.
SFX or Delta 100?
SFX.
All right. SFX or FP4?
Ooh.
FP4.
All right. FP4 or Delta 3200?
That's hard.
FP4.
FP4 or HP5? That's the video we just did a week ago.
I know. That's so hard.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, really, I shoot more HP5, so I feel like that's probably the right. Because I live in Seattle. It's gray.
You need a higher speed.
Yeah, I do. So I'll say HP5.
All right. HP5 or XP2?
HP5 because I can develop it myself.
That's true. All right. And the last one, I think I got them all, is HP5 or Pan F.
Pan F.
Oh, okay.
It's my favorite.
What about Delta 400?
Oh, you
I
did
left
skip
it off. Okay, so
It's
Pan F or Delta 400?
Pan F.
Pan F. All right. I better add that to the list when I ask you guys. So Pan F is your favorite?
Pan F is my favorite, but I like, again, living in the Pacific Northwest, I can only shoot it like 2 months out of the year when it's bright enough. You know?
I
Right.
agree though. Pan F is just
It is.
there's something about
it's
it that
so
is-
nice.
I
Is
love
that
it
your
so
favorite
much.
one?
It's so it's SFX, Ortho, or Pan F. I love the low speed. So between
Okay, well,
those
now you have to
Yeah.
read to him though.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna.
Yeah, you're
okay.
true.
through
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
I say because whenever he brings in black and white film, and it's always a low speed.
I love the look.
the
Yeah.
low speed black and white films.
So beautiful.
All right, John. Well, you're up. Ortho Plus or FSX?
See, that's so hard.
Oh, you put it them
I guess
together
two
on
favorite,
purpose.
right.
I probably shoot Ortho. I'd say Ortho. I shoot that
Ortho. All
more.
right. Ortho or Delta 100?
Ortho.
Ortho or FP4?
Ortho. I don't even think I've shot F before.
Okay. Ortho or Delta 3200?
Ortho.
Ortho versus HP5.
Ortho. I don't shoot that much
Ortho.
F5.
I guess I know we're running
I
out.
was gonna be
Ortho
Ortho.
or XP2?
Ortho.
Ortho or Pan F? There it is.
What
It's.
the heck
I would say
happened?
Ortho because the speed is a little bit more
A touch more.
like playing room with it as far as
All right, then Ortho or Delta 400. Man,
Ortho.
Ortho just
Yeah.
dominated.
Just
Yeah.
dominated
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I think I remember one of the first times you shot that film and you developed it, and you're like, I love this film.
It is a contrast. It's perfect. I love it. Pan F I like too. It's just the development time's pretty low with the Alpha Salt.
Is
3,
it
so sometimes it can be-
4.5?
Yeah, it's like basically
for the dilution
like
we
four-
use.
Yeah,
4.5
for the-
minutes. Yeah.
Use.
So it's a shorter development time. So I'll push it a lot of times because I love the contrast. So I'll put it to like 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like a full stop, but it makes it a little bit more contrasty. So I like that.
That's what I like about black and white. The processing of it is I know we can push rolls of film in the Keller processor, but when it comes to black and white, like we could push it by like 30 seconds or like, just like a
to
little
give it that
bit.
little
Just to,
oomph.
I always add a
little-
little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, I'll usually always
Do
add a
you?
little bit.
I always,
Just a little
it always looks a little bit better. I've always found that if like I develop it a little bit more, if I messed up something, it'll look all right. Like it's not gonna look terrible.
Does that happen a lot for you, messing up?
yeah, it does.
Maybe you
He,
should shoot more HP5.
he has a lot of blank rolls around the lab.
Really add some sensitivity.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Ava, you ready? I'm curious what
Okay.
you will land on.
Yeah, this is gonna be
I
interesting.
kind of knew John would be the low speed films.
Yeah.
All right. Ortho Plus or FSX?
FSX.
SFX, it's a tongue twister, or Delta 100?
SFX.
All right. FSX versus FP4.
FP4.
Ooh, FP4 or Delta 3200?
FP4.
FP4 or HP5?
FP4.
FP4 or XP2? I know Bree would be XP2 if she was
Yeah,
here.
I'd still say FP4.
Okay. Did you shoot FP4 in our video? You did? So did you liked it?
I liked it.
Yeah. FP4 or Pan F?
FP4?
And then versus Delta 400.
FP4.
Oh, you stayed the whole time.
The whole time. So you guys are low speed Ilford
I loved
films.
the look of the video we did.
Okay.
I had shot it once before that and I liked it, but then we shot that one and I was like, all right. And then we flipped and I shot HP5 the next time and I didn't like it as much.
Yeah. Well, those retro packaging came out.
Yeah.
And so we were like, let's take this opportunity to shoot these two in particular since we have those retro packaging. So we shot them on 35 and 120.
Are we
Yeah.
doing you?
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
See? Yeah, I'm not a low speed Ilford guy.
Wait, how do you, okay.
So there's the
from the
first two.
Can you start from the bottom?
Oh, okay. Change it
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's
So
fine.
you start with,
Oh, wait.
okay, wait.
I see.
You see.
Yeah, that.
All right.
Just do the bottom two and then just go through it.
Delta 400 Pan F.
Delta 400.
Delta 400 XP2.
Delta 400.
Delta 400 HP5. Both 400s, so.
Yeah. See, it's funny. Those are the two most common ones that I shoot. It's either HP5 or Delta 400. But if I have to go with what I like the most, it's probably, oh, man. Delta 400.
I know it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Delta 400 or Delta 3200.
400. Yeah.
Delta 400 or FP4.
Delta 400.
Delta 400 or a Delta 100.
Ooh.
You shoot Delta 100 too, right?
I do. I think the Delta 1 and 4 are my favorite Ilford films. Like I'll shoot HP5 like if it's just like casual, like taking the family out for the day. But then if it's something like I want to shoot, I'm like I like that fine grain.
Right.
I think I would probably take 100 over the 400 because we do have a lot of sun here in Florida.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like we need the 400 speed a lot. So Delta 100.
Delta 100 or Ortho.
Delta 100.
Delta 100 or SFX.
I have never shot FSX. Yeah.
Really?
Which today I'm gonna have to go buy an infrared filter.
Definitely.
And shoot it.
At least as far as I can remember, I've never shot it. So
I shot the
Delta
120
100.
version and it was.
The 120 looks so good. I love the 120.
Lovely.
I need to branch out to the higher speed films. I've rarely shot, I maybe shot one of the Deltas once, and I don't think I've shot really much more. So I need to like branch out and shoot more of the 400 speeds. I shot HP5 maybe once or twice. I don't
Really?
shoot it a
Yeah,
lot.
HP5 is the like
I shoot my
like
low
don't
speed films.
shoot that one very
Everyone's
often.
favorite.
No,
Yeah.
I
I
love
think
to hear
that's
that.
why.
Yeah.
I'm
I know,
curious.
me too.
I'm like,
always
okay.
like,
Yeah.
even though I do shoot a lot of it, I'm always like, I like the other stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
we-
different.
we
You're
sell
wearing
a lot
an
of-
I
HP5
know,
t-shirt
I know.
today.
like it's a classic. I have an HP5 pin on my
Yeah.
work belt. But we sell a lot of different black and white films, not just like the main ones or the most popular ones. Like we have Raleigh films, and then you have like all the Kodak ones, and then we have like the lomography ones that I actually
Farania.
haven't shot. Farania. And there's like a lot of
Yeah, there's a lot of
different
brands that shoot it, but I would say HP5 is by far the most our
Yeah.
biggest
The most
black
popular,
and white seller
yeah.
Yeah.
and what we
Develop
develop.
the most.
Yeah, it's HP5 and
Hands
Triax.
down.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Triax and HP5.
Triax, though, Triax is still not quite as much. I don't know why. It just isn't. It's just
No, it's HP5.
HP5 is just.
Yeah.
If it was last year, we did a like top 10 films of 2023. We haven't done it for 2024, and I think HP5 amongst all the film we sell was our second best
second one.
selling
Oh, wow.
film. So number one was
Fuji one.
Fuji 200,
200.
a color
That's
film.
crazy.
Sure.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the second most sold film was HP5.
Oh,
yeah, black and
cool.
white. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there were any other black and whites. I don't think
I
there-
don't think so.
No.
But it was just
No.
HP5.
And the rest then were all color.
Yeah, all color
Ah,
films.
I like
yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah. Do you guys see that on the manufacturing side? Do you guys make a lot more HP5?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's by and far.
By
what they
far.
sell.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I mean, that's, it's great because it's a great film. But I always am trying to encourage people to try something different because, like you with the ortho, like there's a lot of people that have just never even tried it. And
Such a good film.
They just, you just one roll and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
I literally think that's what it took for you as well.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Well, it's
shoot
funny
it.
too is that the roll I shot, I think I had messed up some of my exposures. So they were super grainy and blown out. There's like 4 or 5 that had like the good contrast. So I just want to keep chasing that because it looks so good. Keep chasing that feeling.
you don't-
I need
what
more
started
of
it.
that.
Yeah.
It's funny. Bree just walked in and she did a video where she went to New York for a couple of days and we got to pick her films out.
Oh.
And so that
Some
video is
is
on
on
YouTube.
Yeah.
And so John picked ortho for her.
Oh,
And it looked
nice.
amazing.
It looked amazing in
Yeah,
New
it
York.
looked
She
awesome.
shot some ortho.
Cool.
She had some high rise shots that came out really well.
Yeah.
Kind of a sunny when it
Yeah.
was sunny out there. But yeah, awesome. So concluding thoughts,
Yeah.
what tips would you give to someone who's either, I would say maybe a new photographer, because a lot of our customers are new to film photography. If they're shy about getting into black and white film, or if they're new to it, what sort of tips or advice would you give to somebody from your perspective? Kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
But we always like to ask that question to our guests because we've gotten a lot of different good perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, I just definitely don't be afraid to shoot black and white because it can really change. Like I was saying earlier, it can kind of change the way you see things, and I think in a really beautiful way. You know, you focus, you remove the color, and you focus on the light, the contrast, the I don't know, you just start to notice things more, like the shadows and just the detail in life. And I think if you're shooting photography, you should play with that. You should play with light, and it really changes how you see the way light hits things when you're seeing it in black and white. It's hard to talk about it. I love it. I mean, I think it sort of breaks things down in a simpler but more beautiful way without all the confusion and chaos of color.
So don't be afraid. Get
Definitely
into it.
don't be
Yeah.
afraid. You're not going to do anything wrong. And HP5 is a great one to start with because it's really,
That was going to be my next question is which
it's
one would you
really
recommend?
forgiving. And then, I mean, FP4 is kind of the same way, but HP5 will just, whether you're shooting, if you're doing some stuff indoor and outdoor and, in the evening and in the morning, whatever, it's just a really forgiving film. So, if you're starting with something, definitely start with that. But yeah, have fun with it. It's beautiful. And be different. Everybody's shooting color.
I feel like black and white's easier to shoot at first, at least in my opinion, because it's much more forgiving with even if someone overexposes or underexposes, I can usually fix it in the scanner of at least make it to where it's I meant for it to be grainier.
Yeah.
Or you can
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a black and white shot, even if it's underexposed, has an aesthetic to it
Yes.
that you can be like, I still like this photo versus color.
I meant to do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was intentional.
Yeah.
But with color film, if you underexpose, the dyes just are not exposed correctly, and
It's just
it just looks
green.
muted. But there's definitely been some shots that are black and white that I've taken that I've missed exposure, or even missed focus, and you're like, I really like how that worked.
Yeah.
Came out. Yeah.
I mean, you can take a picture of the most basic thing in black and white and it looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks
It's different.
dramatic.
It's just
A
completely
tree in a
changing.
field and
Yeah.
you're just like, whoa.
is that your photography?
looks
Basic
dramatic.
things.
Yeah, basic, pretty much.
He's a very basic person. He has
Yeah.
to stick to the
Exactly.
basics.
Stick to
I
the
do.
basics.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets too complicated.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Hilary, thanks for joining us today on the
Yeah, it's been fun.
podcast.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Peace out.
Cheers.